Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cairo and today it is, what time is it? 11:16. As you can tell, I don't have any of my lighting on. And I wanted to make like a special video, I guess. So the lighting kind of works for this. If you've noticed, you may notice that if you go onto my channel and you look at the banner, that the banner will be like something saying like, have you ever thought about life or something? And that's because, generally speaking, this channel wasn't supposed to be a gaming channel. So my plan was that I was going to post philosophical-esque type, sit down and talk and play a game. And that was generally how I started this channel specifically. Not like I've already been creating content. But generally speaking, I wanted to just sit down and talk while playing a game in the background. And as you can see, it obviously didn't work. Because now I have a bunch of gameplay. But I want to try one of those videos for like at least one episode, see how things go. And today's episode, maybe the first, maybe the last, maybe it's just this is like the first episode, it'll never have another sequel, is how do I be better than other people? Because genuinely speaking, over the course of my social media career so far, I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of arrogant about it. Many of you don't see it when I'm there, but generally speaking, I am one of those people who are like sharp onto something. And I see it as like a competition. Like everything I do, or like I should, so all of my socials, I'm just seeing as like a competition. If I see my friend has more followers than me, I'm gonna become better than them because I deserve that. And am I wrong to say that? No, I think sometimes I am, in part, somewhat more entertaining. But is it all that it's meant up to be? Or am I just chasing after something that doesn't really exist, essentially? So, what I've noticed from looking at my friend group entirely, most of them, if not every single one of them, doesn't look in the details of things. And what do I mean? Like, if I was to play Minecraft, for example, I feel like most of my friends would just be like there to play the game, where I am there to like dissect it essentially. I'm trying to do as much as I can with it and just generally speaking trying to understand on like a deeper level essentially what's happening. And that may be kind of where my arrogance does come from because I'm like, okay, so I think about things a lot deeper. I go deeper into stuff than most people. I try way harder than them. So shouldn't I be successful? Like, that type of stuff. And do I say it always works? No. But I do say that in general, from what I can tell sometimes, is that when I do see my general performance with this mindset, sometimes I am better than most people. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if I put my iron will to it, then I'm going to do it. Say, for example, school. Back in COVID times, I was in ninth grade, and I was suffering. So all of my algebra things, like all three of these fingers, were just straight up D's. They wouldn't even work. Like I wouldn't even try. I would basically sit there and be like, I'm just gonna get by. And of course I failed. And in general, I just did not get the most stellar report cards, the most stellar grades in individual classes. That is, until I did something about it. Because whenever I think about, like, generally trying to build yourself up, I think about it like, oh god, I forgot the philosopher's name. But this philosopher in question basically said that I may not know anything at all. So why should I keep the knowledge than to just drop it onto the ground and then rebuild it up? And it inspires me just to think that, generally speaking, all I can know is wrong. Nothing I know is correct. And so I need to drop myself onto the floor and then build myself up. Say, for example, my ability, where I'm trying to find a new sensitivity for Overwatch. That's me essentially dropping my shit onto the ground and saying, I'm gonna become better than you in a couple months. Just give me some time. And that's what I did. In school, I basically sat there. I was like, okay, I need to figure out in depth how to get better. I would be so willing to change myself for everything that I've ever been that I will become better than you. And you know what happened? I started growing. My grades started going like couple A's each class, maybe like a C, like a specific class like geometry. And then this year specifically, this me actually got, I think, only 2 B's, and the rest of them were A's. And it was 15 classes, so if we do some basic math, that's 13 A's. That is actually mental when you think about that. 13. You now look at the guy over there, 9th grade Brandon. He doesn't do shit. He was basically going through life, not looking at it in depth, not caring about the potency of the work that he was doing and the life that he was given, and he was suffering. That's what I think change is. That's what I think climbing the ladder is. Is that if I put enough potency into my work, into what I'm doing, I am better than you. I think I've started to learn that. It's not me being outright arrogant to the point I don't care about people. Obviously, I love human beings. I am a very sociable person, generally speaking. And it's not to say like all the time I'm trying to be better than you, but if I care about something, and most of the time I do care about stuff, I'm gonna be better than you. I have that iron confidence. Even if I get dropped onto the ground, I'm able to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to go up in a couple years. And that's generally a mindset I also have, is that every single year, anytime I age up, my birthday's January 18th. So every January 18th, I will become one step better. I'm gonna become better than you in every single way. Now, is there the plasticity problem where at 25 years old you're gonna be basically not learning as fast as you used to? Yeah. Is that really gonna stop me? Fuck no. I will still have that iron confidence. And I'm confident in that because I'm trying to see myself be better than you. In so many ways. Not to say that, like, I'm not an asshole trying to say, like, that I don't care about your success or anything. It's not that at all. Like, I can see when people need to succeed, essentially. That people can succeed. And generally speaking, I usually shit talk the fuck out of my friends. You wanna know why I do that? Generally speaking, it's because they're not meeting my expectations. Am I setting a high bar for them? Depends. But I would say that generally speaking, I can see what they can become rather than what they are. And many of the people I talk to don't see it that way. It's basically just them running on the fucking hamster wheel without realizing they're on the hamster wheel. They keep running and running and running. Then they're gonna get tired, they're still running and running, and now they're like, oh god, why am I gonna pass out? Oh god. That's why. Generally speaking, I wanna see anybody become successful. But in my case, I care about my performance generally. I I see myself as my own ideal as though the people I talk to. It's no like hypocrisy or anything. I'm sat there saying to myself, Brandon, why aren't you doing this correctly? Like, why are you failing to do this, or why are you failing to meet this benchmark? Because I know who I am. I'm confident in myself. Now, is it arrogance? Is it narcissism? Fuck no. Because everybody has a level of confidence. But generally speaking, for somebody who cares about their performance and cares about what happens, it's basically like I'm sat there just trying to win, essentially. Win for myself, win for generally like whatever I'm trying to do. And it like I think it's been very helpful. Very helpful for me. Because generally speaking, I think I've seen myself raise myself. I've seen it. I'm just trying to up the bar every single time. And I've never once, generally speaking, been like, oh, I'm not good enough at all. I'm not. Like, dude, if I was like diamond ranked in Overwatch, I would be like, okay, I'm pretty good. Like I do in a Rocket League. I'd sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty decent at this. I'm pretty good at this. And that's the thing, is that generally speaking, it's very hard for you to sit there and just be like, I'm gonna up myself every single time without running into like, oh, I need to make this better. I need to make this better. I need to make, you know? Like, those are two totally different things that one is very good and one is very toxic. And I don't want you walking away with this as though you can go up to someone and just say, I'm better than you, and to do some fuck shit. Like, do some of the stupidest things. Like, I think that generally it all comes from the thought, it comes from the brain. If you're not able to logically think about it and sit there and be like, this is what I want. Even, like, if you're not too emotional enough and you don't have enough empathy and you're like, oh, I'm trying to make people feel better, so I'm gonna become a therapist. Which, by the way, I'm trying to, but I... leave a comment saying if I should. But generally speaking, you need to have a brain, essentially. You need to have the thoughts to say, I'm gonna change. Even if it's not as superb as you would hope it was. Because look at when I was at school. I was fucking retarded. Like, sorry to say that, but I'm fucking stupid as hell. Like, that dumb. And I fixed myself. Like, who said I should have had like a level of logic? Because why I say like you need a brain is that you need to just think about any way you could change yourself. And if you're unable to think about it properly, then how are you supposed to be able to change yourself if you don't put in the thoughts and effort to even do such a thing? And it works both ways. If you think about changing, but then you don't, then you're just not gonna get anything done. If you're like putting bullshit together and you're not thinking about it, then what comes out? Slop, bad habits, all this other stuff. And you're just generally not as good as the people who actually do both at the same time. Because generally looking deeper into something is way better than not knowing. Like, let's say, like, celebrity A gets into some drama and you don't think about things deeply. What happens? Gossip, rumors, uh, he said, she said type situations. Looking deeper into it, what is it? Just some common argument or something. Just some scandal that doesn't really need to be talked about. Uh, this person is wrong because of A and C or whatever. Because generally speaking, that is way better sounding, doesn't it? It sounds better. Just to be like looking deeper into it than to be on a surface level, not knowing what the fuck you're talking about. And that's what I've been trying to deal with for a long time. The only reason I'm talking about this is I feel like it's a little like toxic in some way. I'm not like roasting the fuck out of people, but in my own mind, my own ideal, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm better than you," it, like unless I really think about it, then I'm like, why? Not to say you should just give up your confidence, but if you're constantly walking around saying, "Oh, I'm better than you," without like thinking about it, obviously you're just a toxic person who should step the fuck down. Because, like, I'm not saying I'm getting arrogant. Or, no, I'm not saying I'm getting egotistical, egocentric, or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, why am I saying that when I'm not giving the thought and effort into it? And that's something I want you to think about. Generally speaking, do you put enough thought and effort into the everyday things that you do? Because if you're not, you need to change that. You're never going to become happy if you're not actually thinking about the world around you or the activities that you put your time and effort into and just look at a soft spot essentially. If you said you have 1,000 hours in Fortnite or something and you're just not up to that standard of like, okay, this is what 1,000 hours looks like, or you're sitting there and you don't put a lot of thought and effort into it. Okay, I love how much times I've said that, but if you're not putting the thoughts and effort into any of it, any of those hours, then you just wasted your time, didn't you? Like you're not really up to the par that you want to be for the amount of time that you spent into it. That isn't to say that the reason you hit 1,000 hours is to say that you should just strip it essentially and just sit there and now all of a sudden I'm depressed because I'm now just sat there caring too much about it. That's not what I'm saying. Generally, what I'm saying is you've wasted your time in the sense that basically you couldn't pick up any knowledge about stuff. Like nothing. If you're on that baseline level of like intermediate, then it's like, what were you doing that entire time? Because at some part, you should be a little bit better than most people. That you should genuinely be in some spot of like hierarchy, essentially. Not sitting here just. I don't even know what. Like, what would you do for 1,000 hours? I guess casual, but like At that point, if you're spending 1,000 hours in Fortnite, like, I don't know, I wouldn't go casual the entire time. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna wrap it up. How is it only been? It's been 20 minutes. That's actually nuts. Hey, I'm able to put points together pretty well, aren't I? Make Let me know if you guys want me to keep making these videos or if I'm fucking waffling or shit. All the descriptions are down below. Join all of them. Follow all of them. Because that's all you gotta know. And I hope you have a good day. Bye bye!